There's been a second night of violence on the streets of Minneapolis. Riot police face crowds of protesters angered by the fatal shooting of a black man. 20-year-old Daunte Wright was shot and died at the weekend after what the police say was an accident when an officer mistook her gun for a taser during a traffic stop. Tonight, the officer who shot him and the city's police chief have resigned. The shooting happened just a few miles from where the George Floyd murder trial is underway. From Minneapolis, Nick Bryant sent this report, and a warning that it contains some distressing images.
It's a uniquely American story we've told many times before. Yet another police station besieged by yet another protest after yet another shooting of an unarmed African American. There was fury on the streets of Brooklyn Center last night, America's latest racial flashpoint, just 10 miles away from where the trial is taking place of the white police officer accused of murdering George Floyd. It began as a boisterous but non-violent demonstration. A response to the police shooting of a 20-year-old black man, Daunte Wright, by a female officer who claims to have mistaken her handgun for a taser.
Do you know the difference between a gun and a taser?
The police were determined to enforce a curfew that came into effect as dusk turned into night, and determined to force the protesters off the streets. It's a police department very much on the defensive. Not that you'd have thought it last night.
May I have your attention, please? Captain Carling.
We see these confrontations year after year. America, as ever, fractured along its angriest fault line of race.
This was the moment Daunte Wright was pulled over for a minor infraction, and the police realized there was a warrant out for his arrest. In the scuffle that followed, the officer fired her gun and immediately realized her fatal error.
Oh, wow.
Tonight, after 26 years in uniform, the officer, Kim Potter, resigned. And so too did the chief of the Brooklyn Center Police.
Yes.
Today, the mother of Daunte Wright described how her son telephoned her after being stopped by the police. Then there was a second call with a friend he'd been driving with.
And she was crying and screaming, and she said that they shot him. And she pointed the phone towards the driver's seat, and my son was laying there, unresponsive.
My Lord.
That was the last time that I seen my son. That's the last time I heard from my son, and I have had no explanation since then.
I don't know what to do. Almost got sick by the police.
There was more looting last night, just yards from the police station. Another urban battlefield in the ongoing struggle over policing and over race. Nick Bryant, BBC News, Minnesota.